We've been on site now here, well the company's been running for 41 years. We've been on site here for probably 25 years. We do a lot of contract manufacturing with the RCA grade. We do a lot of own label for multiple retailers, other brands. We've also produced our own branded products here. So we've got Alara, which was our first cereal brand. We've got Of the Earth, which is a superfood brand. We've got our own buying office in Peru, buying our ingredients there and going to the farms and working with the producers and the farmers to make sure we're getting really incredible products. We then have a brand called Lucy Rocks we're just launching. We produce and market and sell all of the Pertwood cereals. We've got another brand called Somerset Super Cereals, which we're selling onto the continent. And that's just starting to gain some traction now. And we've got another website called Superfoods Markets that again we're just building up. We're producing about 3,500 tons of food a year, something like that. Certainly we've seen a huge upsurge in organic products. So really any product that we're launching and developing now is an organic product. And we're going now much more towards care for nutrition. So I think people are becoming much more aware of the impact of the food that they're eating. We worked very hard and spent 2 years and quite a bit of money and put a big dossier in to get Yacon approved. It was a 100-page dossier. We worked with Potato Council in Peru. We got work from them in. We submitted that to the European Food Standards Agency, and after that, Yacon came off the novel foods list. So, we could then start importing Yacon. Before I started this business, I used to live without using money. I found that actually quite easy. Living without money was 20 hours work a week. I couldn't live without food. What that really made me understand was how fundamental food is. We've got a demonstration permaculture forest garden on site. We have people coming from all over Europe to have a look at it. On it, we grew over a ton of food last year. That's just a little site, in the middle of King's Cross. We use that in our festivals. We were selling it last year at the local co-op shop. We're developing now a pop-up restaurant. So we'll be eating food from the gardens in the pop-up restaurant here. What having that garden does, it makes me actually realise that producing food takes a lot of energy. I do it by hand, it's hard work. So understanding the value of food and what goes into making food and producing food and the miraculous nature of food. I just went out today and I could see the plums on the plum tree have actually set. I hadn't seen them, and suddenly there they are. I think that having the most sustainable food manufacturer on earth, and when you think that food is easily the largest climate change emitter in the world, 1/3 of all climate change gases comes from the food chain. So to have the most sustainable food manufacturer on earth, I think is a good foundation from which we can use the business and the 3 tools that it provides, money, knowledge and influence, to help do what Alara can and what I can, standing on the shoulders of Alara, to move society towards this, I'd say, amazing future that is over the corner for human society.
Account to that?
Well, I think first of all, we certainly want to be held to account. we're going to make this claim and we want to be challenged on it, because obviously being challenged allows us to understand better and to refine our model. At the same time, what we're doing is we're saying that there are 4 fundamental principles of sustainability. There's a financial element, there's a social element, there's an environmental element, and very importantly, and quite often forgotten, is the governance element. So there's these 4 elements, and we need to have an aim within those 4 elements and measure them and have a goal that we're seeking within those measures. And when we reach that goal, then we've then complied with the 4 measures we've set for this mission, and I think this year we would have accomplished those 4 goals. So the first one is financial. Our end point there, which we have already reached, in some respects that was the easiest one to reach, was that we now don't have any creditors. So we're a creditor-free business. We think this is a very useful measure for a whole series of reasons. First of all, it absolutely supports our suppliers. They don't have to wait for money from us. If everybody paid immediately, money would move around in the economy much, much, much faster. We bank with Triodos. Triodos, are very much in favour of this system. So we increased our facility with Triodos about 18 months ago now. And when we increased our facility, they increased our facility enough to pay off all of our creditors. We're borrowing from Triodos at 4%, so we had £400,000 overdraft facility with them. So the maximum that would cost us is £16,000 a year interest. Now we don't make any judgment, we just as a policy we pay our suppliers immediately. But what we believe, just looking at the margins that we're earning in the business, we reckon that because we're paying our suppliers straight away, we're de-risking all of their supply. First of all, it means that we're a customer that they want to deal with, and the commodities that we deal with go up and down in price quite a lot. And because we're a customer that our suppliers want to deal with, we've got a better insight into how these commodity prices are moving. Yeah, our financial measure is COD. It's easy to measure. It's very simple to understand. Any company could do it if they wanted to. And what we've found is it's been incredibly profitable for us. Our social element is understanding that the sum is great, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So if we can bring people together, then there's opportunities, and really very, very good opportunities for all of these intermeshing skills, aspirations, resource to come together. Our social measure is great parties. Again, it's a very simple measure. Anybody can have a party. Seriously, anybody can have a party. We're quite lucky in that we're in King's Cross, so it's very easy to get to. And we have 2 parties a year always. We also have quite a lot of other parties as well. We hosted last year, for instance, the International Permaculture Convergence Gathering, where we had about 1,000 people here from all over the world celebrating the permaculture. They had their conference in London, just down the road here. But we have a wassailing party in January, early February, where we're waking up all of our fruit trees, and then we have a harvest festival in September. By governance, and I think that this is the measure that absolutely, most people completely forget about in sustainability, is it's how you actually relate to society, and how it's not just how you relate to society, but how you demonstrate that you relate to society. So we're a food business, we're quite a established food business, we get audited a lot, and what we've decided to do for our governance measure is to make all of those audits that we have here, both by our food customers and also, for instance, by our health and safety inspection. We've just had one recently, that's on our website as well, to make all of these things transparent so anybody can go on our website and see absolutely from a completely independent perspective what's happening at the factory, the conditions under which people's food is being made. And we think that this is an appropriate governance measure for a food manufacturer. I think really with the business that we've got here, carbon and climate change is the most pressing environmental consideration. I know there's a whole series of others like water, especially water, but we don't really use much water here. So carbon and climate change was the element that we felt was most appropriate to us. So our environmental measure is carbon in, where we're taking responsibility for all of the carbon in all of the food products that we make. We've built a database model where we're demonstrating, this isn't on our website yet, but it will be. So we're reporting, we have reports on the carbon dioxide weight in all of the food products that we're making. And we're doing two things. First of all, acting to reduce that carbon dioxide weight in the food, and also working with an organisation called Rainforest Saver, who are working in 3 countries, Cameroon, Honduras and Ecuador, working with indigenous farmers there to prevent slash and burn farming, and also to plant Inga alley cropping. So we're working with them, we're now a reasonable donor to them, and we'll understand how the money we pay them then goes to ameliorating the carbon in the food. So if we can send, food is absolutely essential for people, but if we can track the carbon in these communities, then we think that's a reasonable way for us to say we've achieved carbon in. Well, I've seen some companies, and some organic, to be quite candid, cereal companies that say, all of our operation is carbon neutral. I've looked actually at what that means. What that means is that they subcontract the production of their cereals, but they bought, electricity for their offices from Ecotricity. I haven't seen any other food business actually reporting on the carbon weight of all of the food products that they're producing. I haven't seen this. This is a tool we've developed ourselves. I haven't seen any sign of this anywhere. And you can't account for carbon in food unless you're actually measuring it. So this is the first comprehensive, we've developed, as far as I know, the first comprehensive carbon measuring tool that tracks, or that calculates the carbon weight of all of the food that we're producing here. My mission, it's very simple. In business, the mission of the business, the most sustainable food manufacturer on earth, is what gets me out of bed in the morning.